I now give the floor to Her Excellency Ms. Lana Nusaibeh, Permanent Representative of the United Arab Emirates and Assistant Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation for Political Affairs.
Thank you, Madam President, and the UAE thanks Norway for organizing this important open debate on such a critical subject and for chairing this meeting yourself. We also thank High Commissioner Bachelet for your insightful briefings, and we listened carefully to the briefings from Zarqa and Kavya. Thank you. As the Foreign Minister of Albania has just said, in order to maximize our impact as a new Council member, we've joined forces with Niger, Norway, and Albania in our shared presidency commitments on women, peace, and security. And we look forward to partnering with you and the entire membership to advance WPS issues in a concrete way during our Council term. As we deliver our first statement on a WPS issue as an elected member of the Security Council, let me share how we plan to champion this agenda further. We will focus on a results-oriented approach with the objective of moving WPS out of its silos and into all discussions relevant to peace and security. In the last 2 decades, we've established a solid framework to achieve gender equality. However, it's gaps in its implementation that continue to exist. So we will prioritize action on existing frameworks to effectively contribute to advancing this agenda. We want to promote a comprehensive approach that recognizes the integrated nature of the agenda. In addition to participation and protection, which we focus on today, we will also emphasize prevention and economic relief and recovery. That is why we are planning to hold a discussion on partnerships with the private sector and how they can support women's participation and inclusion in peace and security during our presidency in March, which is an area of the agenda that remains underdeveloped. Madam President, let me now turn to the key issue at hand. Women peace builders, women human rights defenders, and civil society representatives all play crucial roles in conflict and post-conflict settings. They bring gender perspectives to the forefront, and they contribute to building sustainable and lasting peace. We've seen, for instance, how their tireless efforts during Colombia's peace process resulted in one of the most inclusive peace agreements to date. Yet time and again, these women face discrimination, intimidation, marginalization, and violence. In particular, women advocating for their rights and inclusion in conflict situations face sexual and gender-based violence, including harassment and rape. These reprehensible acts not only destroy the lives of individuals and communities, but also create an environment that corrodes the social fabric and undermines the prospects of peace and recovery. So the UAE would like to highlight 3 recommendations today for member states and the UN that could prevent and respond effectively to reprisals in conflict and post-conflict settings. First, member states must take serious steps to tackle structural gender inequality as a main root cause of violence against women. So investing in education and reforming harmful, antiquated policies can address and eliminate the reasons that drive stigmatization and targeted attacks. And as Zarqa just affirmed earlier today so eloquently, this is a very pressing need in places like Afghanistan today, as we witness an escalation in efforts to distort religion and culture to attack the fundamental rights of women and girls to education. In the long term, investing in the equal access to education can ensure sustained protection for women, prevention of violence against them, and commitment to their critical role in rebuilding more resilient and equitable communities. Second, the UN itself needs to develop effective tools to address violence against women, including reprisals in contexts of armed conflict. This could include a more systematic deployment of gender and women's protection advisors to UN peace operations, as well as increased data gathering and analysis for effective support of the strategies that actually work. For instance, at the end of a peace operation, we should work with host countries to ensure the continuity of key protection capabilities in UN country teams so that women and their advocates are not abandoned at a critical time. Third, we urge the Security Council to remain open to the input of civil society briefers, and particularly women. They provide unique and valuable insights to the Council on emerging issues and developments and situations on the agenda. Threats intended to deter civil society participation in council meetings therefore constitute an attempt to obstruct the work of this body. Accordingly, the UAE, alongside Norway, Niger, and Albania, committed to remain vigilant with council briefers regarding reprisals, as well as to a zero-tolerance approach towards reprisals, as reflected in our shared WPS presidency commitments. Madam President, in addition to acknowledging women's roles as active agents for peace and security, we must also recognize and act upon the many risks that they face. This is necessary for ensuring women's full, equal, and meaningful participation across all sectors, which we already know is central to international peace and security. The UAE looks forward to cooperating with all members, the UN and civil society, to explore avenues that best ensure women's safe participation in the Council and their significant contributions in this field. A woman's place is indeed exactly where she decides it should be. Thank you, Madam President.
I thank Her Excellency, Ms. Nusaibeh, for her statement.